If you visit the Starbucks on 24th Street, near the University of Texas at Austin campus, you are likely to hear the calm commotion of espresso pouring, students chatting, and workers calling out customer names. One of those friendly baristas is Amanda Garcia.
As a compassionate, yeah, people person, extrovert, social butterfly.
Amanda is a 20-year-old student from Edinburgh, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley. She's a sophomore at the University of Texas at Austin, studying sociology and urban policy. She is a self-titled consumer of books who loves reading historical fiction and learning popular TikTok dances. She also happens to be a social justice-focused advocate who fights for immigrants, sexual assault survivors, and workers.
I was in the valley and there was an immigration crisis going on there with like something weird going on in summer 2020. So then I made those like posts and everything, and I made the petition, and it went viral. But then it was through that I was connected to like Texas Rising, and I met Rick, and he was like, "Hey, let's have a quick little one-on-one, and I can tell you about Texas Rising and our chapter." And that's when I got connected to like organizing spaces from them, and then I joined Senate. And again, I know we won't emphasize this, like you don't need to be in these spaces to do this work. But I think I learned a lot from the people that I worked with in that space, because a lot of these people are very like driven and passionate.
Her involvement in these organizations and on such issues allowed Amanda to develop the advocacy and organizing skills to take on larger issues, such as accountability for sexual assault and employee unionizing.
Because I don't want anybody else or anybody who comes after me and the rest of our organizers and the rest of our community to ever have to feel that way, to feel unsupported.
The process of unionizing is relatively simple, but requires a lot of work. First, frustrated employees begin discussing their grievances with each other and the possibility of unionizing. Then, once enough support is built, leaders of the unionizing effort can begin collecting union cards from employees, which state their support for unionizing. Once union cards have been collected, they are submitted to labor lawyers who process them and assign a date for the store to vote to officially unionize. At this stage, employees make their intent to unionize public in order to draw in even more support. However, this process didn't go exactly as planned at Amanda's Starbucks.
Yeah, we went public with our letter and our intent to organize before actually collecting and submitting the union cards. Because we had like union cards collected, we just have all of them, or like at that threshold that we wanted before we submitted. So that was kind of silly.
Amanda believes that throughout the unionizing process, it is vital to ensure that all employees are being supported by one another and have their opinions heard. These types of community building efforts are exactly what makes the advocacy successful.
A lot of it is mainly just like gauging how they're feeling. It's more so like, do you feel supported enough? And we try to never do anything unless everybody's comfortable with it. Because that's the point, right? It's like management does all these things without our input and without like us having agency of what's being done. So that's why we, as like the organizing committee, especially Lillian and Joseph, like really pushed for making sure that everybody's like voices are incorporated into these conversations, and like, before we make any big decisions or like do anything big, like we get input and buy-in from like our coworkers and the baristas and partners.
I love my coworkers. I love my job. There's nothing in this world that I love more than making coffee for people and connecting with people, because that's what Starbucks is supposed to be for. The original mission of Starbucks being a third place, a place between home and work and wherever else your day will take you, that is not being created here. We create it ourselves.
Amanda recognizes that social media has played a large role in her work. It has changed the way community organizers are able to bring people together and work towards the betterment of their respective communities.
I think especially with COVID and having everything transition to online, people needed to find a different avenue of coalition building and organizing, and then the only safe way to do that was, physically safe way to do that was through the internet, right? And spreading information and reaching more people through social media. So it's been very, very important. And like if it wasn't for social media, then like the petition that I made like 2 years ago wouldn't have gained the traction that it did, and social media weren't thing, then I wouldn't be the social media chair in Texas Rising for 2 years. And then even then, like I wouldn't have met all these other organizers if it weren't for social media. So it's
After 2 years advocating for various causes in and around the UT campus, Amanda has seen steady progress. She also has goals for the future.
When I look back and like when I like where I started, like the Texas Rising and everything, and I think of like the things that they've done, starting 2 years ago to where we are now, there's been up and downs, you know what I mean? Because it's Texas. It's always hard to organize in Texas. But there are some things that have like some positive things that have come out of it, and progress has definitely been made. When the new, I guess, like generation of people on this campus come and they like continue this work that's been in the works for like years and years and years, that we create that like foundation, or continue to set that foundation and continue to create like a larger space for them to like.
Community building is not an easy task. It is difficult, sometimes even exhausting. At the same time, however, it is necessary in order to ensure the needs of a given community are met. Amanda knows this, and it is her hope that others will come to know this as well.
Like everything that I have learned and all the reasons why I've grown in the past year is because of other community organizers and the people who have set this like amazing foundation for not only like me, but like all the other organizers that I work with, and to like continue the work that they've been doing for years. Like everyone starts in a different place and everyone has different like experiences. Just because you are not at the forefront of everything, you're not spearheading anything, does not mean that your work is not important. And it's okay to not know everything. It's okay to not know certain things because there are people who do know it, and it's important to talk to them. Especially if you're interested in getting involved in the work, like talk to the people who have been doing it for so long, who know about it and know how to navigate these spaces.
Overall, Amanda is an ideal justice-seeking citizen because she cares for her community, but that archetype stretches so far beyond herself and her impact. Everyone can be one of these American trustees.
The number of good people in the world outweighs the number of bad people, and these good people can work together. So I think my love for people is what keeps me doing this, and what makes everything worth it.
Truly, like one of the most inspiring people I've ever met. And he looks so cute.
You look cute. Okay, well,
Anyways.
don't be later.
Please.